Hey there, friends and enemies. Joper here again, and today I want to talk about which character you should be crafting first in the First Descendant crossplay beta that is ongoing right now. If you didn't know, at Aeneas, you can actually go to the Descendant material shop and use some of those credits that the game gives you for free in the beta in order to craft different characters, but you're only getting a limited number of credits depending on how far along in the beta you are. So you're going to have to be selective on which characters you want to start with. So obviously you have your starting characters, Viessa, Ajax, and Lepic. Those are available. I'm not really going to touch on those because I think everyone has the opportunity to play as those if you want to. So I'll go through the other characters that are craftable in this shop in order to let you guys know which one I think you guys should be going for. First off, we have Valbi. She is an AoE damage dealer focused on water-based attacks. She is very interesting. I do think she does pretty good crowd control. The problem is I actually prefer Viessa to her a little bit as far as just crowd control in general. She's going to do more damage, but she doesn't really shine against bosses as much, and she is a character that I think is similar enough into Viessa and playstyle that depending on who you start with, if you start with like Ajax, then maybe you might want to go in the direction of Valbi. But for me personally, I found her to be interesting, but her skills just are not as much fun as some other characters that you can craft. And I do find her to be fun. I think she's a character I'll go for in the main game, but overall, I'm not 100% sold. She does have her laundry bomb, which allows her to collect up enemies and group them up in a way that I really enjoy. But that's another one that other characters have similar abilities, like you have that with Lepic. So I'm not sure if she's the one that I would go with personally. Then we've got Blair up next. He's one that I know a lot of people are going to kind of lean towards. Fire-based, handsome dude. He is going to be one that does damage over time. And overall, I think his abilities are very good. Critical hit damage increase when attacking enemies in burn state. Essentially, you can light them on fire and then just increase your crit hit damage. So he's going to be one that's focused on critical weapons like scout rifles, sniper rifles, and the like in order to do even more damage. So that's going to be very, very good. And overall, I think he's a character that a lot of people will really enjoy. He does decent damage with his fire attacks, but he is going to be more doing damage over time. And that's one of the places where he's really going to shine because you can put some of these fire attacks on to the enemies, especially like a giant boss who you're not going to miss with a lot of these attacks. Increase your critical damage and then just go to town. So he's one that if you're focused on the boss battles, if that's one of your favorite parts, he's going to do very, very well. And even in general gameplay, I think he shines as well. So I really enjoy him, and I think he's a character that a lot of people are going to be leaning towards if I had to guess. Next up, we're going to go with Sharon. Sharon is one that I think if you are a hunter main in Destiny, if you like the stealthy gameplay, she is the one for you. And she's one that I think, while I think Blair will be popular, I think Sharon will be one of the most sought after once the game fully releases. She's a close range damage dealer who focuses on close range, just like high impact damage. So you're thinking SMG, shotguns, and the like. Damage increases when an attacking enemy is not attacking Sharon, so she wants to make sure she's invisible or she's around surrounding enemies. She pairs extremely well with a tank character like Ajax, and then killing enemies with skill in ambush state resets the cooldown. So essentially, if you can be in the ambush state and then get a kill, then you're going to continuously be like that. So that's where she really shines. She does a lot of damage when you are camouflaged, which is nice. And then you can actually do clear ads and also do good damage to bosses as well, as long as you are staying invisible. So yeah, I really like her a lot, and I think she's one of those characters who is just pure fun, right? Similar to Bunny, who you unlock through gameplay in the beta. She is just a fun character that a lot of people will enjoy using. She's not the most OP right now. I think Blair is a better option for different content in the game as it stands right now. But as far as playstyle and getting different abilities and all that kind of good stuff, she is phenomenal. So I highly recommend checking her out. If I had to pick one character from the list that you would craft first, it would probably be her. Just try her out. Although with Bunny, you might be able to go with Blair or somebody else instead. I'll get into Freyna is the other character that is another great choice that I would say you might lean towards. Next up, we have Glay. She is extremely interesting. She's a utility dealer, uses Rage Deep Inside to quickly defeat enemies. So she defeated enemies, drop Life Sphere. Obtaining Life Sphere restores HP and adds a stack of Power of Life. This is going to be essential for her Berserk mode, which is going to do a lot more damage, and you're going to want to be in Berserk mode as often as possible. So the problem is that because of the damage that you're losing in certain fights, it's going to be hard to stay alive. That's why she has this increased sensory ability, which allows you to restore HP as long as you are in it. You're going to have to be very careful with that and use it on cooldown, because otherwise, since you're not generating the life spheres, it's going to be hard to stay alive in boss fights and stuff like that if you don't have a bunch of ads to clear and everything. So overall, I think she is very good. In Berserk mode, she does a bunch of damage. And so, yeah, I think she is very good overall. She's an interesting, different style of play from a lot of the other characters on this list. But for me personally, I just don't know if she does enough right now in order to be one of the top picks. I think when the main game drops and we have more weapons, more abilities, more modules, and everything to go with, she's going to be one that you can, at the highest end, min-max for a great build and keep her alive and all that kind of stuff, especially if you have a group to play with that's allowing you to not take damage. You have, again, an Ajax or a tank character to really take the focus of the enemies off of you. She could be phenomenal, but for right now, I'm just not sold on her overall, because there's just better characters right now for me personally. Starting with Freyna. If I were to say, okay, which character as far as playstyle, power level, and also fun factor would you pick first? It would be Freyna. While Sharon is a lot of fun, while Blair is very good, I think Freyna combines all of that. She is poison-based, damage over time dealer. Damage increases while attacking poison enemies. So again, just like Blair, set the enemies with the poison damage, and you're going to do increased damage over time, while also increasing the damage of your weapons and everything like that. So I think she is going to be very, very valuable in a lot of teams. I like her character design as well. Overall, she's going to be one of my favorite characters for a long, long time, and the one that I would highly recommend going with if you enjoy the poison style gameplay. So yeah, overall, I'm just a massive fan. I think she's going to be the number one character that I seek out once the game fully launches, for sure. She is probably going to be my main character, although there's some other really good options as well. Bunny is obviously very great. We've got the ultimate characters as well to go with. So there's different options, but yeah, she's one that I am a big fan of. So the next up, we have Jaber. Jaber is going to be very interesting as well. He is another utility dealer. He summons the turret for assault or recovery. When the turrets are enhanced, they can fight more efficiently. If you are a turret-based player in other games, Jaber is going to be one that you're very familiar with. Attack increases when assault turret and medical turret are both summoned. So you're going to want to try to keep your turrets up at the same time. But overall, you're essentially having a permanent companion. If you're a solo player, I think Jaber is a really good option because you can heal. You can also do damage with your turrets, and overall, I think it's just a great combination. So essentially, you can use his ultimate to recall summon turrets and inflict powerful damage to nearby enemies. This is one where you gotta be looking at your cooldowns. If you have your assault turret and medical turret ready to resummon, use this ability and then resummon them, and it's gonna do a big chunk of damage, and also have your turrets back up and ready to go as quickly as possible. Yeah, overall, I think he's a character that is perfect for solo play if you're getting overwhelmed by enemies, if you're struggling to stay alive. You can have not only the healing, the extra damage. He's a very versatile all-around character, and I would highly recommend having him be available. So those are all the characters that are available outside of the standard Ajax, Viessa, and Lepid. And overall, like I said, if I were to have a guess, so there's other characters that are available, by the way. Kyle, you earn through gameplay. Bunny, you earn through gameplay. And then also the ultimate characters as well are earnable through gameplay. You can't get those through this crafting shop. So if I were to rank them, my number one would be personally Freya, then probably Sharon, Jaber, Blair, Valbi, Glay, something like that in that order. So obviously, there's a lot of good options here. Pick whichever one you enjoy the playstyle of the most. That's going to be where it really kind of comes into play. If you are a solo player, if you play in a group, if you have a tank on your team, if you already have high DPS on your team, whatever the playstyle is, you're going to want to play around that. So definitely keep that in mind. That's going to affect your rankings. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out tremendously. Shows you want to see more First Descendant content from me. I'll be still putting out videos for the rest of the beta and even afterwards leading into full launch of this game, which we hopefully will get news of soon. My name is JoPa. I hope you have a good one. I'll catch you all later.